an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
A cool and windy afternoon awaits us as we go out on an adventure through the African Bushveld. This is Safari Live.
Ready. Standing by.
Five, four, three, two, one. You are live, you are live.
A very good afternoon to all of you and welcome on the Sunset Safari. My name is Jamie and this afternoon Sebastian is on camera with me. Seb, it's been a while since, last time I was on walk, yes. Now we shall find something exciting for our afternoon. Now we're coming to you live from a place called Djuma Private Game Reserve, which is in the Greater Kruger National Park area of South Africa. And because this is a completely 100% live safari, that means it is interactive, so you can send through your questions on #SafariLive on Twitter. And don't forget, this afternoon we're going to be having a very, very special fireside chat in honor of our Queen Karula. So don't forget to join us for that in the last 15 minutes of our Sunset Safari. Right, and speaking of great matrons of the Bushveld, we're going to be searching for Fang this afternoon. Tristan had that incredible sighting with her yesterday. Obviously, we're all concerned. We want to find out how she's doing. So that's my plan for the afternoon, is to see if we can't find her. And much like this morning, the wind is howling, which is perfect hunting weather for the big cats, so you never know what surprises might pop out. But it does make some of the animals a little bit more nervous, but hopefully the elephants will be confiding and pop out. There's one person who probably doesn't want to meet any elephants on this windy day, and that is James on Bushwalk.
I don't want to meet elephants as much as those warthogs don't want to meet me. I seem to have started my bushwalk with those warthogs for the last, 5 or 6 afternoons in a row. We find them, we frame them up, and then as Louise or whoever it is in the final control says, "You're alive, you're alive," pew! They disappear. My name is James Henry, for those of you who do not know. Fergus is on camera today, and on security detail is Rexon. And #Safari Live is how you get hold of us. It would be very good to hear from you over the course of the next 3 hours or so. Of course, we will only be walking and driving for 2 hours and 45 minutes, because 15 minutes at the end will be reserved for our celebration of Queen Karula. There's something else I wanted to tell you. Ah, yes, I know what it is now. I think I've been rather remiss of introducing the final control to you of late, and so in case no one else has done it, Louise Pavid is on the Vox, and on the keys we've got Chantal. Good. I think that's all the housekeeping done. Let's get going. Our plan is to head down towards the waterhole at Vuetela Dam, across to Central Road, through the Giraffe Crossing, and off to Hyena Road to see there. Why, you might ask, are they going over there? What possible reason could there be? And the reason is, we haven't been there for a long time. The lions are on Simbambili. The elephants, we think, have crossed south. We don't know where the leopards are, so we thought, well, it's a good idea to go over there. Now, Tristan was telling you about our touch rugby game earlier today. I think he was telling you about that during the pre-show to the show. And I would like you, now I'm trying to think of a creative way to link to him and his animal that is related to the touch rugby, and I cannot. Go to Tristan.
Well, James, not to worry. It's better off than my link this morning when I opened the show, where I couldn't even remember if I was going to Jamie or James, because their names are so similar. So don't worry, James. It's all okay. Now, as James said, my name is Tristan, and on camera today I have Craig, the Batman Zimmet, and we are busy out and about looking for as many things as possible, but we have come across some very greedy vervet monkeys that seem to be sitting on the edge of a waterhole and shoving bulbs into their mouth. I can't see exactly what they're feeding on, but they were on this sort of green section on the edge of Chelapan, and they seem to be finding some sort of plant that they're shoving in as quickly as possible, and it looks like a kid that's raiding a sort of sweet factory. You can see, look, how quickly they're feeding. So there's obviously a very good food source that is inside that waterhole somewhere that they're able to find. So it really is very, very good to see. And amazing how monkeys are able to find the nutrients that they need just by going around and looking in different places. You wouldn't think monkeys would find food in around a waterhole, but there we go. You can see it's picking actually the leaves itself, which is quite interesting. I want to go and have a look what plant that is at some stage. Maybe James, when he wanders from Vuatela Dam, might come towards Chelapan and he can have a look at what plant it is. Now, our vervet monkeys are busy disappearing, and so what we're going to do is carry on going southwards and eastwards, because we're going to go try and see if we can't catch up with the Birmingham boys. There were reports of them crossing into Cheetah Plains, so we're going to try and head across there and see if we can't pick them up and see if we can't spend an afternoon with them. Given that the weather is quite miserable still, I don't think we're going to see too many elephants, and Jamie's going to try and see if she can't find Fang, so it hopefully will be a successful afternoon. Hopefully Jamie finds Fang, we find the Birmingham boys, and all will be good. But I am quite interested as to see what those monkeys are actually feeding on. So next time I'm on bushwalk, which actually should be tomorrow morning, I think I might come down here and have a little look as to what that plant is and why the monkeys are feeding on it. Generally, if monkeys are eating things, us as people could actually eat them themselves. So I'm going to try and see what it is, and if it is something we can eat, maybe try it and just see how tasty it is and whether or not it's worth actually eating. Because sometimes you'll find that the monkeys feed off things that us humans maybe don't like, but it's still nutritionally very, very good for them. But yes, as James said, we played touch rugby earlier. It was, well, I would love to say it was a fine game. It wasn't. We were a bit geriatric in our movements and everyone was a bit rusty. James Henry was definitely the MVP of the game. He's fit and in fine fiddle, and he was running circles around most people. Craig was deceptively fast for the first half of the game, and unfortunately then got a bit fatigued, didn't you, Craig? Yes, Craig is smiling wryly behind the camera. Craig was a bit tired towards the end of it, and well, I managed to damage a hamstring and therefore really didn't participate too much towards the end. Oh, are you going to stay there for us? I hope so, because that's nice and close. So there's a little 3-banded plover that's just landed at this waterhole. You can see there it is. Isn't it cute? Oh, a bit of head bopping. What? Oh, it's lions hunting a buffalo, but this little plover is feeding as it's going. I don't think it's drinking. You can see it will wade around on the edges looking for food. Now, I believe we're in a patch of gremlins, and so before we lose reception, let's quickly go across to Jamie with some food.
Fight them off, Tristan. Fight off the gremlins, even with your slightly injured hamstring. Oh, we have a wildebeest here that I think pretty accurately sums up the feeling of all of the prey animals about this weather. It's cold and it's windy, and when you're an animal with a surface area the size of a wildebeest, it makes sense to lie down where you can shelter just that little bit from the gusting wind. Have a sort of settle snooze for the afternoon, nice lazy Sunday, and ruminate. And of course, research has shown that the brainwaves of ruminating animals imitate that of sleep. So whilst they don't really have the luxury of having a deep, long 8-hour sleep during their day, they can get their rest in other ways as well. A big male wildebeest, the dominant male wildebeest in this area, he hasn't been so lucky this year, have you, boy? The ladies all chose to be elsewhere during the blue wildebeest breeding season, so he's been all alone. Shame. We know it's a male for our new viewers. Purely, well, one of the reasons is because he's on his own. Generally speaking, that is the sign of a male wildebeest, a bull wildebeest. But also, he's got an entirely black face, There's no patch of brown on his forehead, and his horns extend right past the end of his ears, the tips of his ears. Whereas in female wildebeest, which of course have horns as well, those are ever so slightly reduced, so they're not quite as long and solid looking. Also notice that the preorbital glands of a blue wildebeest are much more prominent, especially a male blue wildebeest, especially at this time of year, where he will have been doing a lot of scent marking. Do you see that baldish patch just underneath his eye? That's where he's been scent marking. Here's a good question. James would like to know why it is that other antelope don't make loud noises in the same way that impala do during the rutting season, because it is of course breeding season for wildebeest. Other antelope breed all year round, or quite a few of the other antelope breed all year round. Blue wildebeest snort, waterbuck snort. That's a very good point, though. They certainly don't make as much noise as a male impala does during the rutting season. The only thing I can think, James, is perhaps numbers. Just sheer numbers. The impala have got far more competition than the wildebeest do. Maybe it's something to do with that. Maybe it's something to do with their herd structure, and the way that they don't necessarily have territories exactly. They gather together their harem wherever they happen to be, although the males without a harem also make a noise. Oh, it's a good question. Somebody else is scent marking, scratching the gland on his head. I've never thought about that before. I'm going to go with numbers, but I'm open and competition, and I'm very much open to suggestion as to why you think it might be that impala make more noise than wildebeest. I guess different approaches. Maybe that's just what the ladies like. Judging by their response, I would say that the male wildebeest have had far more luck this year than the female impala. Louise says that nobody likes a loud shouting male. That's why the female impala all run away from the males, racing away going, "Shh, don't you know there's predators out here?" Hey boys, why do you make such a noise? I'm confused. Anyway, over to Tristan, who's found the biggest mammal this afternoon.
We have indeed. We found ourselves a big bull elephant that has just pulled down a massive branch from a knob thorn that is on the edge of the Mulawati riverbed, just kind of north of Twin Dams, and so he's now going to start probably chomping away. And he seems to be in musp, and the reason why I say that is because if you look behind the ears, you can see he's leaking from his temporal glands, and then I can see that, which is difficult to see from here, is that he's actually dribbling from his penile sheath, and his back legs are very dark in color, and which you can't see now because he's come quite close to the bank. And I'm a bit worried to move because with this windy, cloudy weather, it seems that the gremlins are in full force, and so I'm hoping he's going to come out of the Mulawati, and then we won't have to worry too much. I'm sure he's going to head towards Twin Dams at some point, but first he's going to try and eat as much as he can from this knobthorn tree. Now, elephants love knobthorns, and the reason why is because, can you see there's some seed pods on the knobthorn itself? So it's difficult to see on the tree, but some of the branches that he's pulled off have got little pods on them, and those pods will be very, very, very tasty. So there we go, Craig is showing you some of them. So you see those bean-like pods that come down, and those are packed full of nutrients, and so that's what he wants. Now this tree is quite high up, so it's very difficult for any other animal to reach it, and only really big bull elephants like this will be able to find pods up that high. So he's got an advantage that he can find a food source that a lot of others can't. Now you can see he's still busy kind of maneuvering the branch, and he'll work that branch the way that he wants it. So he'll kind of break it and then put it into his mouth, and you'll find he'll do it slowly but surely. And you can see he's not actually eating much of the wood, he's kind of eating the ends of it. So he'll kind of break one of the smaller branches where the leaflets are and the seed pods, and that's what he feeds off. He's not actually eating the really thick, big areas or big branches from the tree itself. That he'll leave behind, and he's just going to eat that smaller stuff. You are very clever, you know that. Elephants are the most amazing animals, and yesterday afternoon we got sort of affirmation of just how amazing they can be and how sort of complex they are. And for those of you that weren't watching yesterday, we had an incredible interaction with Fang, which is a matriarchal female of one of the herds that we see quite regularly, and a young bull elephant, and there was just so much going on, and we really don't quite know what the sort of outcome is of all of it, but it looked like she was going through a sort of miscarriage or a stillborn, and it was just very kind of complicated behavior and lots of interaction between this male, and it was really very, very special to see. So after yesterday, just kind of got more newfound respect for the elephants. So Justin, you're asking what could have caused the elephant to have a miscarriage. Well, Justin, it could be, probably the biggest cause would be dietary. So if they're not finding enough nutrients, and don't forget a lot of these elephants would have been pregnant during the droughts times, and so you might find that the fetal development was just not right, and the fetus didn't develop properly, and the body is now ejecting it. It does happen from time to time. Or she could be ill in some way. It does actually happen like that too. I'm not 100% sure if there's any other things that could cause it. We'll have to maybe research it and see, but it is interesting behavior nonetheless, and was something that I had never seen before. So I'll try and see if I can find out if there's any other causes of it, but I would imagine there's probably a few diseases that might cause it as well. So we'll have to monitor Fang and see how she goes over the next few days. I tried to find them this morning, and I had their tracks and I followed them, but they went into a very deep, thick area, and it was impossible for us to find them. So we'll see. Maybe Jamie will be lucky this afternoon. We can get an update on Fang and how she's doing. Now, Ellie Bull seems to be relishing his branch. He did pull down a massive branch, so I'm going to try and risk the gremlins and go around. It seems that they're not too bad. I'm just going to try and see if I can't get a better angle. Oh, and there's a beautiful bird that's just taken off. Now I'm hoping it's going to land. Oh, it's landed behind the dam wall. We'll go try and get to it just now. But while we try and reposition and see if our signal will stabilize, let's go across to James, who's got a beautiful flower.
Well, it's a subtly beautiful flower. Yes, it is, well, pretty much the colour of a crowned lapwing's legs, really. Orange mixed with pink, and this a plant called Kalenko rotundifolia. Thank you, Judy H. I managed to figure out it was Kalenko. Of course, I needed some help with the species, and it is called rotundifolia, which means, of course, the rotund or round leaf. And well, there is the leaf. I have it there. You're looking at the flower, and there's the leaf. And Fergus is just showing you how nature is both yin and yang, both flower and thorn, as of course are the personalities of the ladies in the final control. Now I'm in trouble. Yes, I thought I might be. And this is a succulent, and they've just come up now. It's really quite interesting to me because they weren't around in the middle of the summertime, and suddenly as we've gone into winter, so these succulents and those of Kalenko lanceolata, which is the yellow one that looks quite similar, are also coming into flower. So there's a time for everything under heaven, as they say, and it would seem that even in the winter here there is time for flowering depending on which plant you are. Yeah, this is a slightly better example over here, Ferg. A bit prettier. Really the most gorgeous colour there. Very nice. I'm most pleased that Tristan has managed to find the elephants. And so I think we should go not across to them, but across to Jamie, who apparently has got an animal that might eat this. I'm going to wager I have no idea what that is.
I bet she would really enjoy that particular plant that James has found, whatever it may be, just as much as she is enjoying her succulent Sunday lunch, or whatever she manages to dig up. I want you to take everything that we've ever taught you, and I want you to casually throw it out of the window, because we've got a female warthog with 4 warts. How interesting is that? she's got an extra pair on her nose. And she's a big old girl. You can see from the size of her tusks. She's not a young warthog. But typically, we always tell you how males have 4 warts on their faces. They're not actually warts for our new viewers. They're pieces of cartilage and gristle. But typically, females only have 2 by their eyes, and the males have 4. 2 by their noses and 2 by their eyes. But this is, just double check. It's definitely a lady. She is definitely a female. So there you go. Take the rule book and chuck it out, because animals always have a way of doing that to you. I've seen a female kudu with horns before, and now I've seen a warthog with 4 warts. And I have this vague feeling that Brent's told me he's seen her before. I do think he's mentioned this. Maybe it's not her specifically, but that's interesting. Just a genetic abnormality, I imagine. And what will be even more interesting is whether or not her children inherit it as well, her little piglets that are here with her. I'm very curious to find out. That's interesting. Just goes to show, you can get all sorts of strange things happening out here. She's been... Oh, and speaking of strange things, by the way, remember how I said that there was one dominant bull blue wildebeest? I was wrong. There are 3 of them. I don't know what these 3 bachelor boys are doing together. Where's everybody going? Is there a meeting that I don't know about? Where are we all off to? Are we going to the Ark? What's happening? Everyone appears to be migrating off into the distance. Is there something you lot know that I don't? There appears to be no great panic involved. It's just a slow, steady progression of everyone moving together. That makes sense. Safety in numbers, I imagine. Lots of ears and eyes on the lookout for potential threats on a windy day. Here's the younger female, who's probably the mother of some of the piglets. And given Warthog's social structure, there's a chance that she's the daughter of the older Warthog with the 4 warts. But it doesn't look as though she's inherited her mother's trait, if it is, in fact, her daughter. There you can see, that's a typical female Warthog. You don't have that matching pair of warts on the snout. So that's what we normally see. Which, by the way, would make Pumbaa in The Lion King a girl. And H. Macy, yes, absolutely the warts have a function. And the fact that the males have 2 sets rather than the females is quite an interesting insight into what that function might be. So male warthogs fight fiercely over females at this time of year. I don't think we've got a warthog fight on the live safaris this year, this particular mating season. But when warthogs fight, they can do serious damage to each other with those very, very sharp bottom tusks, the tushes. And so, the warts are a great way, and in male warthogs, they're very much more developed, and they stick out far more. And it's a way of protecting their more sensitive areas, particularly the eyes, from the tusks of a rival. So that is one potential reason. I can't think of many others. Protecting the eye would be one. As they snuffle about, maybe it also helps to protect them. But mostly it will be for the males who are competing for access to the females. And perhaps, I guess, to help protect the eyes of the females as well. The piglets, of course, don't have any tusks to help to keep them safe, so they've got whiskers on either side meant to look like tusks, which is one of nature's clever little tricks. Right, we're going to move on from our small grey things. Let's go back to Tristan with his big grey thing.
Well, we are trying to, but our bull elephant is misbehaving big time. He's being very naughty. He's giving us lots of attitude this afternoon, which is not uncommon. But every time I start the car, he has a lot to say about it, lots of head shaking. And the problem is that he's up on a hill now, and I'm a little bit worried that if he does decide that he doesn't want to come, if he does decide he wants to come down the hill, it's not going to be an easy place for me to escape. So just trying to reposition myself so that I've got a little bit more of a sort of exit plan should he decide that he does want to be full of nonsense. Yes, carry on. That's better. You can see lots of swagger in that walk today. Lots of head shaking and ear flapping. Yes, yes, we know you're a big boy. Okay, enough now. Right, let's try that again, Craig. So, at one point he was standing right behind us, and every time I tried to start the car, he would have his little head shake and do... Hey! Enough. Stop it. Off you go. So sometimes with these elephant bulls you've got to make a bit of a noise, and so just a little shout like that is enough to deter him to carry on. So we're not going to push him any further because he's already demonstrating that he's not impressed with us at all. So let's wait for him just to move off a bit so that we can then be able to move. Now, with elephant bulls like this, no, stop it. Now, hopefully he's going to stop his nonsense and not actually come this way again. But look at the size of him as he comes over this hill. He is massive. Yes, big boy. You are very impressive. Okay. Okay. No, enough. Hey. Now we're just going to try and just lower our voices a little bit, let him move off, because probably the sound of me talking is also just irritating him a little bit. So you can see he's on a serious sort of assertive mission, and that's because he's higher than us. That's also why we're getting so much sort of dominance display from him. He knows he's got the higher ground, which makes us seem a lot smaller than what he is. It's also because there's females that are just coming out of the bush there as well. So I don't really want to get between him and females. Let's just see where the rest of the herd comes out, because I, like I say, don't want to see his reaction if we are between them. But luckily now with the females, that should divert his attention a little bit and mean that I can get onto higher ground, which will be much better for us in the long run. But there we go, there's the herd there, you can see them, and he's now on the sort of back side of the herd, and it is amazing to see the size difference between him and the females. So I'm going to try and just sort of get a picture. I don't want to go too close because of his general sort of demeanor that he's got this afternoon. So there we go, you can just see them in the distance now on the road, but look at how much bigger he is than the adult cow there. Now she's not a small girl by any stretch of the imagination, but he is monstrous in comparison. So there we go, it's a really nice sort of comparison between adult females and young ones. Now, are you going to harass a female? Last night we saw a male harassing a female the whole afternoon, and it seems like we're going to see it more again. Look at the female's posture in the back with the little baby. See how her ears are out? She's displaying to that male, I'm not happy with you being so close. Off you go. But if there's a female in heat and a male that's in muss like this is definitely going to be harassing any female that he can. His heightened level of testosterone means that he wants to mate, he wants to find females, and that's why he's also giving us so much trouble, is because potentially we were now between him and this herd. Now this particular herd is a herd that we do know, now that I can kind of, well, when I saw them just now move off, it's the short trunk herd, which is another one of our favorite sort of characters out here. She's a female that's got a shortened trunk by probably what we think was a snare. Now snares are wire traps that are that are displayed or not or used on the fringes of the reserve, often by poachers to try and get some sort of meat, particularly people that are really impoverished and don't have access to money and be able to feed themselves, and they'll then go after bushmeat. And so sometimes an elephant's trunk gets caught in that, and it causes a little bit of an issue, and the trunk then loses its sort of tip. But it is not too much of a problem. This particular female has shown that she's so adept to still using her trunk. She can still drink, she can still feed, so it is an incredible story to watch as she moves around, even though she has this missing tip. Now the elephants are starting to move back this way, so I'm going to just try and position myself in a little bit of a better place so that I don't have to deal with this grumpy bull as much as we did just now. And so while we do that, let's go across to James and see what he's up to.
What I'm trying to do here, everybody, is split a Balanites fruit apart. Now this Balanites fruit, which may result in my cutting my finger off, was found in a piece of elephant dung. Now the point of this is Rexon's just given me a really nice sort of cultural use. Sorry, I'm going to move it there, Ferg. And it's used to point your way in life. And what you do is you have to cut this thing open. This is a nightmarish thing, it won't open at all. I'll try once more and then I'll show you the one that we've already prepared. This has got broken fingers written all over it. How deeply irritating. I don't think this one's going to open. Shall we try one more, Rex? Thank you. Alright, let's try this one. And then I will tell you what Rex told me. But they are amazingly hard. There we go. Ah! Right. So we're sort of in there. We need to open surface. There's the nut that you can see there. You're just going to dig that out. And then we're going to make a smooth surface from the edge of the seed, trying desperately, while we do this, not to cut our hands off. And what we have to do, there's the nut, and it's, can you eat this, Rex? No, Rexon says no. They smell, as I've said to you before, like sort of rancid dried apricots. I don't know if you know that smell, but dried apricots are one of my very worst things in the world. So I've never had any desire to eat one of these things. And yeah, this one's split. Anyway, so we're going to hollow it out, and then we're going to make a nice kind of flat surface out of the broken edge. If you can imagine what I mean. So we're going to cut this off here like that. Again, being very careful not to slice our fingers off. Yeah, and it really does smell like, now it's mixed with elephant dung as well, so it's pretty gross. Now we'll give it one more thump. Oops, sorry. I mean to beat the camera in half. This one's cracked. Anyway, that's hopeless. Right, so Rex has already made one for us because he's much more competent with the knife. And what you need is 6 of these. And apparently what you do is you take all 6 of them, and then if you're thinking in the morning, no, I want to find some leopards, and so should I go Central Road or should I go Twin Dams? Or should I go Central Road? And you throw it, and it will either land head up or it will land head down. That means yes, and that means no. And so if you get 4 open for yes, and 2 open for no, well, then you go Central Road. If you go the other way around, then you don't go Central Road. And apparently this is a very effective way of finding wildlife that I'm going to begin using as of today, I think. I just need to find a few more Balanites fruits. And as you smell it, I mean, it really is... It's now infused with elephant dung because this has passed through the digestive system of an elephant. But it smells like, I don't know if you know what dried apricots, dried apricots are common everywhere, I think. And it smells like they've been sort of put through a composter and then left to rot for a little while. And some people will put these in their mouths and chew them and suck them. I think they are just disgusting. And in theory, this oil, or this seed, has got an oil that will burn. And that's where the torchwood gets its name from. And it does feel quite oily, I must say. But I don't have a lighter on me. Do you have a lighter on you? Oh, hang on a sec. Hang on. Here we go. Let's see if it burns, shall we? No, it doesn't. I've embarrassed myself 150 times trying to do this before. No, there is no oil there. Alright, so I can't cut and I can't light a fire, but, well, That's probably not a bad thing. And don't worry, none of this is about to go up in flames. It's all much too wet. I wouldn't be doing this in the middle of September or October. Let's head further down to the south, down Twin Dams, where Tristan's Balanites fruits indicated that he would find elephants.
Well, indeed, James, we have, and it's nice that the bull has now wandered off, so I don't need to deal with his delinquency this afternoon, which is fantastic, and now we can just enjoy the beautiful short trunk herd and watch them as they come down to drink. The little babies are being so cute. They're a little bit nervous of coming too close to the edge of the water. It's because it's such a steep angle where they've decided to drink that they're almost slipping into the water. And you can see the babies are a little bit kind of wary of getting too close. So they're sort of trying to stretch their trunks as far as possible to drink. And look at how she's able to drink. It amazes me watching her when she drinks. She kind of bends and bows her head, and then she picks it up, and then look, she squirts it in. It's almost like a jet spray that goes into her mouth. Now hopefully she'll do it one more time for us and face us, that we can actually see it. There we go. See? It's like a jet. It's going straight in. You are so clever. So even though she has this sort of disability now, she's still able to survive. It really is astounding to watch. And these little ones that are with them are some of the cutest baby elephants I've seen in a long time. I don't know why. They just seem to be full of joy and life, and they came bounding down to the water ahead of their moms, running with lots of joy on their face almost as they were kind of approaching. And you know, an elephant always loves a bit of water, so even the babies. And look at the little one's face just peeking through the bottom. Yes, you are a special herd. Even though it's a small herd, it's not nearly the same size as what Fang's herd would be. They are still a very special herd indeed, and it's always great to spend time with them. Hello. It is so peaceful when you sit with elephants at a waterhole. So, Suzanne, you're wondering how thick an elephant's skin is. Now, Suzanne, sorry, excuse me. Suzanne, it depends where we're talking. So if we look on the sort of trunk area, that skin is going to be very thick. It's going to be almost an inch thick around the trunk. Whereas if we look around the ears skin is very, very, very thin. And the reason for that is because the trunk skin is used all the time. The trunk is used to pick up logs, it's used to break branches, some of them covered in thorns, so it needs a very thick skin in order to protect that trunk and to make sure the trunk is not damaged in any way. The ears, on the other hand, needs to be very thin skin because that helps with the cooling of the body. So as they flap their ear, so they're cooling down the body and cooling those veins that sit just underneath that very, very thin skin. If we then go back onto the sort of body and the legs of the elephant, the skin then starts to get thicker again. You'll find that it'll be probably between sort of an inch and 2 inches thick in places, as it protects the body from varying sort of tree stumps and branches as they negotiate their way through these savanna thickets. So it is quite interesting that their sort of skin depends on where you're looking on the body itself. But you lot must have been very thirsty, because this is quite a long drink for elephants. Often you'll find that females don't drink for very long. They kind of come down and they drink and then they go again. And I surmise the reason why they're drinking for a long period of time is because we're in a situation where this morning has been very cold, very windy, and most of the elephants would have tried to seek some sort of refuge from the wind. They would have spent their time in a thicket somewhere, and now that it's kind of, the wind is dying down just a little bit, so they've come out and now it's time to drink. So they wouldn't have drank too much this morning, which means it's now time to sort of get their daily intake of water. So Gail, you're asking, is that the entire herd? Yes, Gail, it is. It's 2 adult females and 2 babies. So this is how many there are in this herd. It is a very small herd, and it's not uncommon to see this. You often do see these sort of separations happening, particularly in the winter months when food becomes a little bit more scarce and water becomes a bit more scarce. Sometimes you'll find a sort of breakup of the herds, and then at the end of winter, when water becomes a real big problem, then you'll find the herds almost coming together again, because they have to sort of congregate around the last remaining water sources, and then summer arrives and there's lots of rain and lots of vegetation, and they'll kind of then break apart as they go off and feed in their own areas. And you'll find that those elephants that do rejoin often are related in some way, but they just distribute away from each other during these sort of periods where it's difficult to find water, and then join again when food becomes a little bit more sort of available, and like I say, right at the end of winter when there really isn't too many water sources available. But there we go. Oh, careful, don't snip. Would have been interesting to see her reaction had Boris the Blade had been here. Now, those of you who don't know Boris the Blade is a crocodile that Brent affectionately named that spent some time here in this particular water source. And it would have been interesting if Boris was here with that baby elephant, because that baby elephant is definitely of size that Boris could go after it. And particularly with a small herd like this with only these 2 females, sometimes a crocodile might be tempted into going after a baby elephant. And it would have just been sort of an interesting interaction between the elephants and the crocodile had he been here. But alas, he's not here today, which means that the babies are free to play around. Are you coming for another drink? You've been very thirsty. I always have to laugh at baby elephants when they come down for water, because generally they go right up next to their moms, and their moms are normally sort of so preoccupied with drinking that they don't really look around them, and they do exactly what this baby is doing now, where they suck the surface water off and then they spray it out again, and they end up spraying it all over each other. And the other day Jamie had a So, Gaping Raven, you were actually wondering about the surface water and whether they drink it. And no, they try and avoid it as much as possible because it's filled with all kinds of debris. So they try and disturb the surface and then they drink from there. Now, I think that's time for them to go. And I was saying earlier that Jamie had a sighting, in fact, right here at Twin Dams, where baby came to drink and its mom threw a whole bunch of water into its face and it ended up getting completely sprayed by it. So it does happen from time to time. I wonder why they've stopped all of a sudden. They were walking quite quickly and now they've just stopped, and it almost looks like they're listening. And this will sometimes happen when it's windy conditions like this. They pick up something and they hear something and then they just stop, and you'll see the ears push out a little bit and they then listen to what's going on. But what an incredible sighting that was. That was very pleasant. I'm glad our naughty bull decided not to stick around and give us any more trouble, because he was being very feisty. And what's wrong, girl? What have you seen? I wonder if it's because they can smell where that bull was. This is where the bull turned around to come back at us just now. And maybe his scent of his musk, because he was dribbling heavily, is what's getting her a little bit sort of anxious. That's why her ears are out and she's displaying quite a bit now. Let's see how it goes. I wonder if she might not just turn and go the opposite direction now and away from where she can smell this male elephant. You saw her reaction when the male elephant approached earlier. Her ears flared out and she was kind of looking at him and seeing what was going on. It looks like she's calming down. Right, well, we'll probably spend a little bit longer with Short Trunk and see how she goes. And while we do that, let's go across to Jamie, who's heading towards Arathusa, and I hope that she gets some luck with Shadow this afternoon.
I really hope that I have some luck with Shadow. I could do with some luck where Shadow is concerned. Or just some luck in general, actually. But before I go searching for Shadow, I've just turned back onto Djuma quickly. One last loop to check for Fang's herd. In this windy weather and with the stress that they've been under, I suspect they're going to stay hidden in the dense vegetation of this block. But you never know, we might get lucky. I haven't found any tracks for them coming out. But I just want to check quickly around the Gowrie repeater. And we could equally get lucky with Shadow here, come to think of it. This is part of her territory. So she might surprise us yet, I say with great hope in my voice. Shadow, for our new viewers, is a leopard with a young cub that I have yet to see, and I've only got... Well, I'm going on Tuesday, so I've only got a few more drives left before I head off to join Brent and the Mara. It would be really very nice to see the little cub before I go, but might be waiting for me when I get back. Who knows? But I haven't had the best luck with Shadow. Every time I've gone to see her, she's vanished, or we haven't quite got there before the end of the drive, or she's vanished. So I'm not going to make the focus of my drive searching for Shadow. Oh, I remember what I wanted to tell you. The Inkahumas, the pride of lions, are just north of our boundary on Arathusa. So hopefully in this cold, windy weather, there's also a chance they might pop out as well. It's fantastic hunting weather for big cats. And on a day like today, lions, leopards, they could potentially move all day. You just never know. be wrong, but I think I just felt a drop of rain. I'm hoping I'm wrong. Let's pretend I'm wrong for now and see how we do. Been odd weather for this time of year. It's cold, cloudy, windy. This happens in the middle of winter every year, but not usually at this time. Oh, it's a tree. And don't forget, everybody, to send through your questions on hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. Okay. This is one of those days where everything goes into hiding. Everything hides away. These elephants haven't popped out either. Okay. I've now done an almost full circle. If we get to the Balanites junction, the junction with the big tree that James was showing you the seeds of, then we've checked everywhere. And then that means that they haven't popped out. They're definitely still in here. They're still hiding away. Shame. Probably regrouping after the trauma of yesterday. With whatever went on with them. We may never know the explanation. There's the torchwood tree I was telling you about. The biggest, prettiest tree, I think, on Djuma. The tree books describe the adult torchwood trees as having deeply fluted trunks. In other words, they've got all of those sort of twisting bits that look like a whole load of trees have kind of combined and come together. Deeply fluted. I think that's a brilliant description. Well, I have wonderful news. The animals might be hiding from me this afternoon, but they cannot hide from Brent in the Mara.
Welcome to Kenya, guys, and look at this, we've got a male cheetah. Remember, this is coming to you live from the Masai Mara. My name is Brent Leo Smith. I have Dangerous Dave Eastaugh on camera, and this is the first time I've seen a male cheetah, and he's got a fat belly. I'm pretty sure he made a kill underneath a tree in the distance there, because we saw some vultures there, and that's where we found him moving from. But that was about 4 hours ago, so we've been moving around, and we haven't been able to. We found lots of things, but we decided to come back to see if he's moved, and he hasn't. Okay, so you can see he's got quite a nice. Now, earlier today, I was looking. Her name is Musiara, and she's got 4 cubs, but she is somewhere towards it. The Talek River, but while we're on our way looking for the Ridge Pride of lions. Now, I actually met a lovely gentleman today who's a sort of a lion expert in this area. He's been working in this area for many years, from Governor's Camp, and he gave me some very interesting info. So, of course, everyone has heard of the Ridge Pride, but only people who watch TV know who the Ridge Pride are. All the guides and around here call them the Madumo Pride, which is their original pride name. And we found all 19 of them today. And unfortunately, they were down in the Orok River Valley. Oh, you might get up. But some of them have moved up towards the ridge, and we're going to see if we can find them a little later. But I'm hoping this beautiful big cheetah boy decides to get up. Now, of course, all these cheetahs have names. I'm slowly getting to learn where their territories are and who's who in the zoo, but with the help of the local experts, and hopefully we will be able to get an ID of this beautiful male cheetah. Now, it is possible he could be part of a coalition, and he's just off gallivanting on his own at the moment, or he could just be a single male. It all depends. And until we spend more time in this area, we're not going to know. Now, this area is fast becoming one of my favorite areas. I'm just going to get Dave to show you quickly. I sort of make sure my pronunciations are correct on the names of the rivers. Okay, so we've got this wonderful area down here. You can see those rivers there, and it's the Ola Rock and the here we go, Natia Kitiak River, that junction here, and it's called double crossing this area below us. And unfortunately we do have a little bit of a problem with signal down there, but hopefully we'll be able to rectify that in the future. We're quite far up the hill now, actually on the hills that lead up towards Rhino Ridge, and it is absolutely spectacular here. So we're on the other side of the river from the Mara Conservancy, or the Mara Triangle, and we're in the main Masai Mara National Reserve. Isn't he a beautiful big boy? He looks in prime condition, and fat as fat can be. I think he ate a whole Thompson's gazelle. Hey, big boy. Now it's starting to cool down. Doesn't mean he's going to get on the move just yet. As you can see, there we go. Some of that fat belly starting to show. Now, I've been lucky enough to see a cheetah hunt from start to finish with Eggsy. Dave hasn't been so lucky yet. Oh, big sigh. Now, I couldn't hear who the question was from, but the question was, why is the cheetah alone? Well, cheetah males are either in coalitions, reti, or they are solitary. Cheetah males can often be solitary and move around hunting by themselves, and they are not as territorial as the other big cats, and will often have much bigger home ranges than lion or leopard, and will actually move through. The female cheetahs have much larger home ranges than the males, and that's because of their very interesting sort of breeding cycle. It is the only one of the big cats that needs a male dominant sort of ratio for mating. So females need to sort of pass up on 2 or 3 males before they decide it's okay to mate. And where there is obviously with lions and leopards, it's the complete opposite. There we go. You can see the semi-retractable claws. So unlike the other big cats as well, not able to retract their claws fully. Now that is a special adaptation for the incredible speeds the cheetah are capable of. Now, Dave in the distance, here's his favorite food, and as I say, he's quite fat, so he's not going to go for them. Let me just move out of the way. There we go. Oh, what have we got there? Tommy's or Grant's? Grant's. So not his favorite food, his second favorite food. There's Grant's gazelle in the distance. Oh, he's rolling over. Now, Eclair says, what is the way to tell a male and female cheetah? Well, I'm pretty sure it's a male. I haven't actually seen the sort of wedding tackle to guarantee just yet, but unless it's a very big female, generally judging by size, it is a very big cheetah, and it's possible it's a big female and I'm wrong, but I've been lying facing away from us. Let's loop around a little bit, Dave. Oh no, oh, there we go, there's that belly. Actually, no, I'm not so sure. Let's have a look. Oh, flop. That belly is just too much. Okay, let's move around. Try really make sure if it's a male or female cheetah. And I haven't seen, well, I've only seen 2. This is the 3rd cheetah I've seen. So it could possibly be just a very large female. But I just judging from the size, I thought it was possibly a male. And we're going round to be proven wrong, it looks like it. Hello, gorgeous. Sure, you are a big girl if you are a girl. It does look like a very big female. Wow, that's a big female cheetah. I mean, she must be nearly the same size as the two boys that we see on Cheetah Plains. Definitely a female. Now, I wonder who this is. Now, the most famous cheetah in the Mara is Malika. But I haven't seen her yet. Well, maybe I have, I don't know. I don't think this is Musiara. I heard she was further to the east of us, along the Talek River today. Oh, but having the best rolls. Oh, it's a big female cheetah. Much bigger than the one we saw on the other side here, Dave. Well, she was quite young. I actually found out... Oh, there we go. She's up. Oh, and down again. Now, unfortunately, we are an incredibly long way from home today. We've probably still got about a 3-hour drive ahead of us. And she's got a full belly, so I don't think she's going to get up too much. But guys, send me screenshots of the side of her when she stood up there, and those are what we use as ID features, and I'll send it off to the cheetah researchers, and hopefully we can find out who exactly this gorgeous big girl is. And remember, this is coming to you 100% live from the Masai Mara in Kenya. And while we continue on our way, I'm going to go see if we can catch up with some of the Ridge Pride. While we do that, let's go across to James, who's stomping about in the bush.
Well, I am no longer stomping, everybody. I am lying down as per that cheetah. And I am lying next to the entrance burrow to a Bushveld gerbil. And the Bushveld gerbil is a rather interesting entrance burrow, or burrow generally. It's apparently got a whole lot of chambers in it, and those are lined with sort of leafy debris where they like to rest, which is very nice. I don't know if this one's active, because normally an active one apparently has got a ramp of sand, a fresh ramp of sand outside it, but this one doesn't seem to have a fresh ramp of sand. What it does have, however, is a very distinctive path that moves away along through here. Now, what Fergus is going to do is demonstrate to you what it must feel like to be a Bushveld gerbil. And while he does that, I'm going to read you something which I've just read, which I think is one of the most hilarious things I've ever read. And it goes like this. Ultrasonic vocalizations include long whistles, which consisted of rapid dance sweep, blah, 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 blah. A post-copulatory song performed by the male was recorded after 2 observed copulations. It consisted of a series of whistles over a period of about 1 minute. Now, I don't know about you, but the thought of a Bushveld gerbil crooning away post-copulatory, I just think is too amusing for words. Anyway, apparently that's what they do. They're singers after the act, which I think is quite sweet. I'm going to put that away back in there. And then I just want to show you something else, because I've never managed to do this. I've spoken about it often, but I've never done it before. Now, you've been looking at a cheetah with Brent, and I've no doubt that cheetah was lying down, much as I am doing now. I have not eaten as much as that cheetah, though. And I've spoken often of how a cheetah is able to lie, like I am doing now, but with its head cocked to one side. And I've often said to you, why don't you try and do that? You try and lie on your side like this, and then cock your head up to one side at 90 degrees, and then try and fall asleep comfortably. And I assure you, it is not possible. And it's an amazing adaptation that a cheetah has, and I think a very overlooked one, that it's able to lie like that, twist its skull completely to the horizontal, and go to sleep. I think it's quite amazing, and a brilliant adaptation that it has, of course, for looking out for things that might want to come and get it. This was a good opportunity to show you that. So that is my story of the Bushveld gerbil, and its post-copulatory song, and indeed my comment on the cheetah sighting which Brent has had. Brent's only had 1 cat sighting today, and what's wrong with him? Normally he has about 7 or 8 in about 5 minutes. I've no doubt he will find those lions that he's after, and I will look for more Bushveld gerbils. I wonder where Rex is. There he is. I can see him up front. Let's carry on. We've come across the valley of the Great Morwati, and we're on our way towards Buffelshoek Dam. I'm not sure if we'll find anything there, but stop, press, Stop the Sunday broadsheets. Let's reprint them. Tristan is on his way to something exciting.
Well, we are indeed. I'm not 100% sure where it is because radios are all over the place. People are shouting at me, but I can't really hear them. So I think that it's somewhere where we are now, and it's hopefully going to have lots of spots on it. So we are all the way on Cheetah Plains, around 3 in a row pan. So I'm trying to listen. So I'm just trying to see where exactly they went, and I'm not sure who it is, but I can tell you that it is a leopard. So I do know that, and I'm really hoping that it will be quarantine. That's what I'm really hoping for, because that would mean that I would have seen all of Karula's cubs, which would be very fitting given that today we will be doing our fireside chat for Karula. So I'm hoping that is the case, but let's have a look. They did say 3 in a row pan, so I'm trying to see. I see some tracks going off the road there, so I'm just going to try and get hold of the guys. Ralph. Ralph, are you in the block to the east of 3 in a row pan road? Copy that. I'll be there in 1 second. So it sounds like she's going northwards, which means we're not going to see for very long, and it means that it is not quarantine. If it is a she, it must be in Inkanyeni, so it must be somewhere just here, I would imagine. Hopefully we can find where Ralph is. Now I'm just trying to see if I can't find Ralph's tracks, because it's, as you can see, not even exactly a very open area that we're in, so it's not exactly that easy to find. Now hopefully it would be here, but like I say, if it's a she, it can either only be Kuchava or Inkanyeni. I'm just trying to find where exactly these guys are, because I don't see them, but they should be here somewhere. Ah, there they are. So we've managed to catch up with them, which is great news. Okay, now we're going to try and see if we can't get in here and follow her. It's not going to be very easy, because I know this section is not very easy to negotiate. Lots of fallen over trees and aardvark burrows. So I'm sorry, Craig. It's that time again where we're going to potentially go off-road and go through some serious bush. Now poor Craig has been punished this week by me. I feel very bad because I keep hitting his face all over the place, but it seems as though he didn't get it quite as bad as what Fergus got it yesterday. So Lou says Batman is tough, he can handle it. Well, yes, Lou, I suppose he is tough sometimes. He's we would hope that he's tough. Now I'm just trying to see where she went, because they're telling me that she went in a northwesterly direction. Oh, there's a big aardvark hole there. We don't want to go down that. Craig, if you see a leopard, will you tell me? Because I don't see anything. Now, I'm hoping she must be somewhere here. This grass is so long, it's almost impossible to see a leopard in this, but this is exciting. And the only problem is she is going right towards the boundary. The boundary is no more than, I would say, probably 50-60 meters ahead of us, which would mean that she's going to cross fairly shortly. Now, she must be somewhere here. Where are you, Inkanyeni? I'm trying to see her. Now, I don't know if they've got a sight of her. It doesn't look like it. They told me she was going in a northwesterly direction, so that's exactly where we are. But I don't see any sign of her. Let's try and get through there. No, don't see anything there. But you can see, look how long this grass is, and like I say, for a leopard, so I don't see any sign of her, and the other guys seem to have lost visual of her too, so I'm trying to just kind of check in the area that they told me to, but I don't see anything anywhere here. Oh no. No, I'm just going to try and see if I can't ask the guys if where the last sort of sight they had of her was. Ralph, am I on the right track? Is she sort of north of you there? Okay, so apparently she was between us and the other vehicle heading this way. Now, I can't see anything here at all. And I didn't see anything when we came in. This is the problem. You can lose a leopard in this in 2 minutes flat. Now from here is going to be anyone's guess as to how we get round this. But it seems like Inkanyeni is going to be elusive this afternoon. I don't know if we are going to be able to find her in this. This is not exactly friendly bush at all. And I don't know how fast she was moving. I don't know if she was really kind of just going very slowly, because then that would mean that potentially we've come past her already. I'm not 100% sure. Sorry, Craig. Now, while we try and find the spots of the Sabi sands, Brent, who's already been successful with one set of spots, has now found the other predator that doesn't really have spots.
There we go, guys. The first visual of a gorgeous Madumo Pride or Ridge Pride Lioness. Now, this is one of the young females. We were following them in the middle of the day up into this area. They did have a squiz at some zebra, but the zebra spotted them from far away. Now, she's remained here. Now, the lions of the Madumo Pride are literally spread throughout this area at the moment. So we've got this single lioness here. And I want you to go across right over there, Dave. All the way around to the other side. Can you see where the cars are in the distance? So that is where we were this morning. Unfortunately, there was no signal down there. And we got our first glimpse of Lipstick and Blackie, who are the two big dominant males in this area. And as well as 7 or 8 cubs there, including 2 tiny little ones, but hopefully they will be out of that bad signal area at some point. Now, we just decided to stop quite quickly with this gorgeous younger lioness and we're going to continue on shortly back towards Musiara, where we started our morning at about 6:30. Well, we actually started our morning at 5 o'clock, 4:45 at Ngama, leaving to get to this side of the river. And there's another 2 lionesses and a couple of cubs just down the drag from here, and I'm pretty sure it's those 2 lionesses who were with her when we saw them attempt zebra. I think later on tonight they're going to make their way towards that big herd of buffalo that's up on the hill. Now, they are quite well known for taking buffalo, unlike the Ngama Pride, because the Ngama Pride have lots of long grass where the Warthogs make it easy for them to catch them. Here, in the big open plains, there's some Ellies behind the buffalo as well. They're focusing more on buffalo and eland, and occasionally zebra seem to be their choice snacks while they wait for the migration to arrive. Remember, hashtag Safari Live if you have any questions. And we are live from Kenya. Isn't that exciting to say? We are live from Kenya in the Masai Mara. And we're with some very well-known lions at the moment. But it looks like she's not up to much. She's got a little bit of a limp. It looks like when we saw her earlier, she's got a bit of a wound on her back right leg. Nothing too serious, it looks like. But we are going to keep moving now shortly and head towards the rest of the Ridge Pride that are in the signal area. Hopefully those big, beautiful males will at some point be out up on the ridge. And it's quite nice because every time we've come to look for them, we've managed to find them. It's a really nice area to look for lions because the grass is so short. I think I've lost comms with final control. Oh no, I've got it back. Now, I know last time when we left the beautiful cheetah, that very large cheetah female, we said we're going across to James, who was stomping around, and I was incorrect. Apparently he was lying down. So I'm going to cover all bases. James is either climbing the tree, stomping, or lying on the ground. Let's go have a look.
I am doing neither of those three things, which is, I mean, they're all very good guesses, but I'm not. I'm sitting now. And that's because we found a very large hole in this termite mound, which was clearly occupied fairly recently. I suspect it has been the home of first an Artvark, then quite possibly some warthogs, then possibly some hyenas at one stage. Wouldn't it be wonderful if the wild dogs came and denned in something like this? This is exactly the kind of thing that they would den in. But then, more latterly, you can see at the bottom of the... Can you see it there? It might be a bit dark. There's some dung, and it looks like the dung, according to Rex, of a slender mongoose. So that's what I think is living in there now. And then you can see that it's not particularly active, or certainly the animal that keeps going in and out of it is not very big, if there is one going in and out. And that's because of the cobwebs that are hanging over the entrance of the burrow. Nothing else I can see in there. But there is a bit of an animal niff to it, I feel. There's a bit of a stink. And not a bad smell, smells like a zoo, I guess. And so I think that it's probably occupied fairly regularly. It could also be the fact that I'm carrying a piece of elephant dung that came out of a very small elephant. And you can see this elephant already had a very varied diet. And was probably, I wonder if it was still suckling. I'd be very interested to know if the elephant that produced this was still suckling. It smells just like normal elephant dung. Already, I wouldn't say that this has come out of an elephant that's more than 2 years old. And already it's eating sticks. It's eating leaves. As you can see there, it's a leaf. And it's eating grasses. And it's come all the way around this termite mound. And in fact, if we back away from this termite mound slightly, what we can see is that it has been flattened all around. And it's been flattened all around, of course, because the vegetation around termite mounds is normally quite fertile. And certainly in areas where you're trying to track a rhino, this is the kind of, if you lost the tracks, you'd come towards a termite mound to see if you pick them up again. So they tend to go from termite mound to termite mound. But I can't find any rhino tracks here. I think it's just the elephants that have been around here. Good. Let us continue. Come on, Fergus. Daddy, now they're back there. Let us go across to Jamie, who apparently has not got a leopard, a lion, or a cheetah, or indeed a hole in the ground.
No, I don't have any of those things. Just a gentle rub salt in the wounds there. I haven't even got a hole in the ground. Well, I do, but it's not a very interesting one. I'm not even going to show you that hole in the ground. And I've got news that the Nkuhumas are still on Simbambili. So, you know, I'm feeling quite sad this afternoon. I'm feeling even more so, as James has pointed out, that we don't have anything. Here's some holes in the ground. Ha! Take that. Look at that. Isn't that thrilling? We've got multiple holes in the ground, not just one. There you go. See, James only had one hole. I've got a whole termite mound full of holes. I've actually just stopped so I can stop driving into the wind for a little bit. Recover some body heat. And driving on Triple M, which is the main road from the gate down to the lodges, is a chilly experience at the moment. Creates a sort of a wind tunnel. Stacey, you want to know if there's a method to date the age of a termite mound? Not that I'm aware of. We know roughly how long it takes them to build a termite mound about that size, which is probably around about a month or so. And then from there, I guess you could extrapolate. But it very much is dependent on different circumstances. You know, on a cold day like today, termites can work all day. In the middle of summer, they're restricted to working at night because they are not geared to cope with warm sun. I have lovely news. I might not have anything, but Tristan does.
Well, if you can believe there is a leopard there, it just shows you how difficult it is to find her. I was almost giving up hope, and we were coming back on the same track as where we went in, and those little ears poked out of the long grass, and there she is, the beautiful Inkanyeni, and it is her indeed. It's not Kuchava, so it's definitely Inkanyeni, and it looks like she's sort of slowly moving around hunting. She seems to be kind of listening very intently. Her ears are moving quite a bit, and she's keeping a low profile. She's sort of leopard crawling her way through this grassy thicket, but you can see when they get into this thick grass how difficult it can be to see them. It's almost impossible. That spotted pattern just blends in so well. There you go. You can see if she puts her head down now, you won't know that she's even there. The fact of the matter is we only saw her because she decided to move. There we go. Amazing camouflage. And look at how she's sort of looking around. So there is another vehicle that's going to join us now, and I'm hoping that's not going to cause her to slink off, because it's going to be so tough to follow her through here. And I'm hoping that she goes back to the road. The road is about, I would say, 10 meters from where we are now, and so hopefully she's going to pop back onto the road and head back towards 3 in a row pan. And it's so good to see her again. I'm hoping she's going to be a little bit fuller than when James saw her the other day. I know James saw her this week at some point, and she was looking a bit skinny, is what they told me. So I'm hoping that she's going to be have gotten a meal in that time. Sorry, I'm just trying to tell the guys which side of me she is, so that they can find her and get into the sighting easily. But it amazes me how that they are able to blend in like this. It really is phenomenal. And you can imagine how effective a hunter she must be in grass like this. Any impala that moves in this area is going to have a really tough time of it, because she's going to be able to strike in grass like this without them even knowing. There we go. It's disappearing as we speak. But it looks like she might be going back towards the road, which will only be good for us. If she decides to go back to the road, then we at least will be able to see her a lot better than what we see now, because that there is camouflage at its very best. But I'm glad we found her at least. I thought there was going to be no chance given the fact that it is as thick as it is. Now I just wanted to see if she turned around, but it looks like she's going back towards the road, so I'm going to go back that way, I think, and try and see if we can't get a clearer view from the road itself. Let's have a look here. Careful there, Craig. I'm trying to not slap Craig about with trees, so hopefully we can get out here somewhere and actually be able to see her. It would be quite nice if we could. It seems like she is moving again, so I'm going to try and just catch up on that side. Whew, it's thick in there. Feels like the leopards are dragging us through hell at the moment. We had Tingana the other night, and that was quite something to follow him through that thicket. So hopefully now we'll be able to get our way through this a little bit easier. So Riti, you want to know at what age can a leopard independently start hunting? Well, it's a very variable number, Riti, because it depends on the individual. Some leopards are incredibly good hunters, others not so much. But in sort of my experience, the youngest I've seen a leopard independently hunt has been 10 months old, so that's very young. And the oldest that I've seen from a sort of cub learning how to hunt was actually he was almost 2.5 by the time he kind of learned how to hunt, so he was not very good, and he stayed with mom for a very long time. Now, where is she gone? This is not easy to follow her through this. She tends to just disappear so quickly. I think we're going to have to end up heading back the kind of way we came now. Hopefully we can find her again. But here's my track that I was on just now, so that's good news, because that will make life a lot easier. There is a massive termite mound not too far from here, so I'm hoping she's going to go up towards that termite mound, and that will be much easier for us to then view her. Once she gets up there, it'll also be much quieter for her as well. She seems to be a leopard that doesn't really like the noise that much. I kind of watch her. She sort of slinks through the grass when there's a lot of vehicles. Well, the 3 vehicles that are around. She then kind of moves quite a bit. Now, I don't know where she's gone from here. Can you see her, Craig? Oh, there she is. She's just there on our left-hand side. It looks like she's coming straight this way. There she goes. Hello, beautiful girl. Look how she sniffs every now and then, and they'll often do that when walking through areas like this. So, Jenny, you're wondering if Inkanyeni means anything. Well, Inkanyi is a marula tree, and so it's because she used to love lying in marula trees when she was a younger cub, and that's where she got the name. So it's basically, her name is after a tree itself. Now, it seems like she's going to go straight towards that termite mound I was talking about just now. So I'm going to try and just get into that area. The way I came through from the termite mound is not a very good way, so I'm hoping the way that I'm going to go now is slightly better. It's one advantage of having these vehicles. These shorter wheelbase vehicles really are much better at getting through this stuff than the longer wheelbase vehicles. But there's the termite mound I was talking about, just on my left-hand side now. So hopefully she is going to head that way. Oh, this grass is so long. You've got to be just so careful when driving through grass like this, because there can be a stump at any stage which can go up and hit your vehicle and hit into the sort of underside and cause quite a bit of damage. So that's why I'm just trying to take it as slow as possible. Can you see her, Craig? She went through in front of us. Okay. There she is. Where have you gone now? She's just in front of us, but it amazes me, her camouflage. There she goes. I can just see her slinking away through the bush there. It's almost impossible to see these spots as they go. Now, hopefully she's going to go the way that she's going now, because it's heading towards a road where we'll be able to then see her a little bit better. Sorry, Rusty. I apologize. I know. This is not ideal treatment of you. I'm sorry. Right, let's see. Okay, girl. I know, where you're going is going to be quite nice, so let's just try and see if we can't get around. There we go. Where are you off to now? I'm going to stop here, Craig, because that should be at least some sort of a visual, because it seems like we're just chasing grass and trees. But there she is there. You can just see that telltale white tail and the basically white ears. And that's when you're looking for leopards. Those are two sort of parts of them that you should always look for. When you see that white sticking out, it's often a telltale sign that they're around. Are you going to go into that tree? Please go into that tree. That would be very kind of you. There's a very tall torchwood that she was looking up at. And it seems like she's decided, nope. Now, typical, she would be walking on our tracks from earlier. So, Debbie, you want to know how many surviving cubs Inkanyeni has? Whew, I'm actually not 100% sure about this. Well, she's got Fatumi that I know for sure, so that's the one young male. Other than that, I actually don't know. We'll have to ask some of our regular viewers who know these leopards very well. I don't have that much experience with Inkanyeni, so I'm actually not 100% sure. Now, Craig, be careful, it's quite thick through here. But it would be interesting to know, because I know she's had quite a few litters, and I know there was a young male at one point that she had, but I don't actually know what ended up happening to him. I think he ended up distributing away from this area. Now, it would be very nice of her if she decided to rather go onto some semblance of an open area or a termite mound, because that would make my life certainly a lot better. Now, she was heading in this direction, but I don't know where she's gone from here now. So other than that, I actually don't know of any others, to be honest. I'm not sure if she's had any others that have survived. So if anybody can help us, hashtag Safari Live, and maybe you know how many litters she's had and whether or not any are surviving. I don't know of any females, so she was right here. I don't know where she's gone. I can't see her anymore. I don't see her here anywhere. Right. Well, we try and see if we can't find her again in this sort of block from hell. Let's see if we go across to James and see if he knows where he's going and whether he's found anything while we struggle our way through it.
A block from hell, that doesn't sound like a good place to be on a Sunday. We are not in a block from hell, but we are not surrounded by a great plethora of wildlife. We were, however, apparently asked a question about ticks, which Louise is now going to feed through to me while I examine some rather strange-looking flowers. Here they are. PT Watcher, you say now that it is winter. Have the ticks gone away? They have indeed gone away, most of them. I've got the odd tick bite on my body, but not too many, and nothing like the sort of invasion that one experiences after the first few rains in summer. You don't lie awake tearing at the skin around your ankles and your lower legs. And so, no, there are not many ticks around. I did find one the other day on my chest when I woke up in the morning, which was a bit disconcerting. Luckily, it hadn't buried itself in my skin just yet. I think it was too cold. And so I took it off and threw it away in 2 pieces. Now, I am distressingly convinced that this flower has been explained to me before, and I don't remember what it is. But it is very pretty. Is it not? Look at its subtle colours, Fergus, you see?
Oh, very subtle.
Not everything has to be bright and garish, you know. Sometimes it's the mixture. Here we have a subtle sort of lemon sherbet yellow, some just off-white, and some very nice green. Yes, I like that. I like that combination, I do. Very good. Okay, let's leave that. I don't know what it is, unfortunately. And I'm sorry if you have told me before. I feel like you have. Anyway, lemon sherbet ball flower, I think is what we'll call it from now on. Did Inkanyeni look any fatter than she did when we saw her the other night? Do you know if she's had something to eat? I hope she did. She was looking a little bit skinny and not so well, but apparently it was impossible to see her because she was walking through the very thick grass, as I am walking through the very thick bush. There we are. I've made it through all the thick bush. And I have had a small problem with my tooth of late, and so I'm very pleased to find this tree here. Strawhead, I'm afraid I missed your question. It was about clothing, I think, was it? Oh, do guides find themselves wrapped up while guests are in shorts and t-shirts? Fergus, be careful, this is a thorn tree, you'll hurt yourself. Too late, this is the wrong tree. Oh no. Here's a better tree. This is a black monkey thorn, I need a knob thorn. Yes, they do quite often. In fact, one of the most amusing things that happens out here, if you're a guide, is that guests arrive in Africa because, and without any kind of jerseys or anything like that, because it's always hot in Africa, which obviously it isn't. And there's a roaring trade done in the curio shops or gift shops of most of these lodges, normally in the winter, because nobody ever brings anything warm when they come to Africa, and so people buy beanie hats and fleeces and scarves and all sorts of branded stuff that they probably never wear again, but for safari, very important. Let's try this one here. I've had a toothache over the last little while, everybody. It's very sore. And I need, apparently, one of these knobs. Apparently, a knob of a knob thorn is going to take away the ache of my tooth. And so I'm going to cut it off and then suck on it. I'm going to try and cut it off. I don't remember this being so difficult before. Here's one that looks like it might come off. Okay. Come on. You can see I'm very good with a knife. You saw me with the balanites. There we go. Lenny, you're wondering what type of poisonous plants there are out here. Luckily not the knobthorn tree. Here it is. The knobthorn is not poisonous. I'll put it in my tooth now. To this tooth, you see. Lenny, you say what type of poisonous plants are out here? Did you hear that? May have been a stomach going growl, or something else. Lenny, the most poisonous plant out here is a thing called a tambuti tree, which we speak about quite a lot, and I obviously can't find one now. But there are quite a few poisonous bulbs and tubers that you find lilies growing out of, Scodoxus being possibly the most poisonous. It's got a really beautiful kind of what looks like a bright red toilet brush, and then there are of course the bright red abrus seeds, or the lucky bean creeper, which have a terrible toxin called abrin in them, and that can be fatal. Normally it's bright red if it's going to kill you. Something that won't kill you but is going to kill something very shortly is what Jamie's got now.
I think they've already killed something. It seems as though our luck has changed and we're with the Sands pack of wild dogs. How lucky have we been with these amazing animals over the last few days? And they're definitely crunching on something. Although true to wild dog form, not all that much left. Hello guys. You wonderful creatures, you. So for our new viewers, the African wild dog, the second most endangered canid in Africa, and definitely one of the most endangered species that we get out here. And they really truly are extraordinary creatures. And they're beautiful. They look as though somebody has painted splashes of colour on their coats, each and every single one unique. And apart from that, one of the most exciting animals to watch. Dogs are busy all of the time. I love that one at the back, it's gorgeous. Oh, got a little chunk of bone. I wonder what they killed here right outside Arathusa Lodge. One of them's got a bit of a bloody head, and this is where they killed something, outside of the lodge. Imagine, those guests must have had such an extraordinary afternoon. Step outside and see a pack chasing something.